Welcome to Film Freaks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And now we're going to be continuing our series of franchises with the Alien franchise. We figure we now talk about the Predator series, which began in 1987, I believe. That started with the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Predator.
Yep.
Now, for those of you that don't know, this was also directed by the same guy who would later do Die Hard.
Not to mention, this is the year I was born.
1987?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, 87, my year. So, this is my birth year, so I'm so happy. Yeah, that's something I can bring up.
Yeah. So, basically, we get Predator, directed by John McTiernan, who also directed Die Hard a year later.
Yep.
And it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the leader of an elite special forces team who go out to Central America, and he teams up with Apollo, played by Carl Weathers, and they team
famous army guy. Oh, not army guy. A famous guy that's known for army films. The Captain General, whatever his name is. I can't remember him. He died. He's already dead. But
trying to think. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway,
R.G. Armstrong.
Yeah.
R.G. Armstrong. He's famous from a lot, and believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, he was actually in Children of Corn.
Oh, he was?
The original Children of Corn. He played the mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
That dies. They got stabbed. So, that was pretty cool.
All right. And then we have...
He just recently passed away, though.
And then we also get introduced to the other Special Forces teams who, we'll bring this up later in the film, but I had to get this out of the way. Shane Black, as an actor, plays Rick Hawkins.
Yeah.
And you also get Jesse Ventura playing Cooper. And then you get Bill Duke as Elliot. Mm-hmm. And you also get Richard Chaves as Ramirez.
Yep.
And so this team is pretty much going to Central America to... It pretty much, in a way, it starts out kind of like a different film because they're going there to take down these, like... It's kind of like Rambo 2.
It's like a Colombian army or some rebel guerrilla. It's like a guerrilla fucking warfare type thing. Like a Vietnam jungle-ish kind of warfare. They're there to take out some kind of like gang or some shit.
Some kind of cartel.
Yeah, cartel. Or some like army shit that they're it's a mission, it's an operation. They're special forces, they're the best of the best. They're sent out here to take these guys out.
Yeah. And so when they get there, they're pretty much taking them off one by one. And you can tell right away, this film is going to be like, it's going to be like your typical 80s action film where you got your one-liners. Like the part where Arnold throws a knife at that one dude and he's like, stick around.
Yep, stick around. And I mean, and it's funny because it's hard to accept those type films that are made today, but back in the day, it's something about those films that make you
feel that macho.
It makes you feel American, like strong, like that's what 80s was known for and early 90s. So I really, that was pretty cool. And even the one-liners are awesome. Great cast. I enjoyed all these soldiers, man.
I did too, especially...
it's a fun film, and it's meant to be a horror type.
Yeah, well, it later gets into that, like, later in the film, but the first act, when they first get there, it kind of feels like a military.
Saving Private Ryan.
Because they're fighting the Central American forces.
Yeah.
And so they pretty much come across these corpses that are skinned alive, and then the movie progresses where they come across this girl who's telling them about this shit that's been happening in these camps, and that's when we get to see that in the perspective, we see like this invisible figure that's lurking around the trees, and you realize like it's this weird alien creature.
And you get this heat force where it starts doing a lot of that throughout the film, where you see the alien's eyes, and then you're seeing these heat, or it picks up the heat, and it does a that weird noise, like a video game-ish type thing.
Yeah, and then
he's reading like their heat signals.
Yeah, and then you see throughout the film, you're seeing that the Predator is basically he's basically skinning them, these people alive for as a hunting, as a game, as a hunting. Because pretty much the Predator's tactics is he skins them alive because he's hunting them one by one.
Yeah.
And he
takes trophies.
Right, trophies. And so throughout the film, the team is trying to look for this invisible creature that's lurking around the forest and everything, and then they're being picked off one by one. And Man, you talk about some like pretty fucking brutal effects they use.
Oh yeah, man, these people are getting picked off horribly.
Yeah, especially when one of the earliest people that get killed is Carl Weathers. Apollo gets killed because he gets like his arm ripped off, and he's still trying to go after the predator throughout the jungle, and then he fucking he gets stabbed in the chest, I believe, and pretty much throughout the film you're starting to see the team trying to take down this creature, and basically they just keep getting killed off one by one, and it pretty much comes down to Dutch, played by Schwarzenegger, trying to fend him off one by one by himself.
Yeah,
in him and the girl, because he's the only one left.
It's cool seeing him battle all these like fucking the army people. But then when it gets to the predator scene, man, these people are dying horribly. I remember that one famous scene where that dude gets his chest blown out. Yeah, and he has that fucking badass gun and shit. Yeah, and then all you see is and the fucking chest blows out.
Yeah, I remember that.
God, dude, that shit was brutal. But what's cool, we didn't bring this up, is I do love the dialogue in the helicopter. Yeah, they're playing the badass Vietnam War music. Yeah, and they're sitting there, and you have Jesse Ventura putting dip in his mouth. Yeah, and he's like, "Here, you want some? You want some? Oh, you bunch of fucking slack jaw faggots around here. Yeah, this shit will make you a real man." And
then when we first get introduced to Carl Weathers' character Dylan, where him and Dutch have like their when they grab arms, right? Yeah. Dutch, Dylan.
Oh, you've been pushing papers around, haven't you? Yeah. I love that shit, dude. That's dialogue. This dialogue, unfortunately, doesn't work in action films today. It did back then.
Yeah. And I love those. You know what I really love, too, about this one is the score by Alan Silvestri, especially the Predator theme, when it's playing in the forest and shit. I really love the way it has, like, that synthesizer music.
Yeah. And not only that, it spawned if you guys, it's not iconic as a lot of you people might think, but it is to me. That theme to it, dun dun,
yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun, 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 dun,
yeah, I love that.
The theme to it, and unfortunately, it's a theme that's iconic, but yet didn't leave the first film.
Yeah, and you know what's also interesting about this one, from what I was hearing about years later, was this one actually, originally they had Jean-Claude Van Damme play the Predator at first, but the reason why he backed out was because after he put the suit on, when he was in the jungle, he said that he noticed that it got too hot, and throughout the film, he couldn't really do it because it was having too much, he was sweating too much, so he pretty much abandoned the role, and he was replaced by Kevin Peter Hall, which you may remember he played Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
And also, but if you do notice, there are a couple of shots in the film where you can still see that Jean-Claude Van Damme still wore the Predator suit in the film. So they left a couple of shots in there, which was cool. Yeah. But yeah, we get to pretty much the final climax, which involves Schwarzenegger pretty much putting himself in
he's kind of going Rambo. Yeah. Like he has to go Rambo because he knows this guy's invisible, so he's got to compete to him. And like he said, like all his soldiers are just getting brutally fucking And the Carl Weathers, where he gets his arms explodes right off, and he's shooting his lasers and all that stuff. It's just brought down to this chick and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're pretty much...
And he puts himself in mud.
We gotta play alright, we gotta trap this motherfucker.
So he puts himself all in mud where he's trying to camouflage.
Well, he finds out that the Predator can use heat signals.
So
mud
hides the heat.
Yeah, hides
and
the
so
heat.
He has this one-on-one battle with the Predator where he's, trying to kick his ass, and then he has one of the most famous lines where he's like, "Get to the chopper!" to the girl, and then we see that he's trying to fuck with the Predator because after he pretty much is almost defeated, he's like, "Come on after me, come on, you fucking pussy," or whatever. And then the Predator, pretty much the Predator knows that he's going to get killed, so instead of him trying to escape, he pretty much does a self-destruct where he blows himself up. Yeah. So in a way, the Predator killed himself. So, and then it shows that Schwarzenegger and the girl escape, and then they leave in a helicopter.
Here's the thing. This became an iconic movie because of the last 15-20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
The battle scene, the You one ugly
motherfucker. And when he takes his mask off and you see his face.
And this is where the movie really picks up. I enjoy this movie from A to Z, but this is where it really gets you hyped. Because they're sitting there just about beating the fuck out of each other and shit. And then that's where he's like fucking booby trapped and he's just beating the shit out of Predator. And then the Predator's like pretty much like, yeah.
And he blows and self-destructs.
Yeah, and then when he does that, he blows up, and we get this big flash, and then we see Arnold in a helicopter, and you get that really good, sad, triumphant wind. It's like where the military does like horns, like as in like loss of people.
Yeah, that's right. He finds the girl, and then they leave in the helicopter, and then. Basically, the movie ends with them being picked up by his commander. And overall, though, I really do love the first Predator movie, and it's still my favorite out of the franchise. And I do think that it still holds up to this day with the whole macho feel, the way the alien looks, the way that you see like a lot of the stealth movements that the Predator does and everything. And it's just really fascinating. And I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Oh my god, it is my favorite of the series.
Right, when then after the success of Predator, which pretty much was a huge hit when it came out, it was likely that a sequel would follow. And then the problem was that with the next one, this one came out around the same time that Terminator 2 was coming out, and Schwarzenegger, because he felt like the first film was in more of a jungle setting. They wanted to turn the next one into more of an urban kind of city setting, and he felt like it didn't really he didn't come back to this one because he pretty much made it to where it didn't feel right that they put the Predator setting in the city instead of the jungle. So that's why he didn't come back.
Yeah, which actually people need to understand. This is actually good because this is good for films because people bitch about hashing the first one. It was a good change. I actually thought it was a good change.
Yeah, I did too.
The setting was awesome change.
That's what I'm saying. And you have it to where this one you have. It's actually in the near future. You have it in 1997 in Los Angeles, which is pretty much, in a way, it kind of makes it like the first one again, where you have a turf war going on between a Colombian and these Jamaican cartels. And you have it to where the cops are coming in trying to settle the situation, and you got a cop played by Danny Glover, who is now in the lead role instead of Schwarzenegger. And throughout the film, you start to notice that the characters are trying to piece together. They're trying to. It's kind of episodic because this one you're dealing with two sides. You get the Colombians and the cartels fighting back and forth, but then you also have the Predator come in, pretty much killing both of them. Both sides.
Yeah, and so we get Danny Glover, like you said. He comes in this film, and we actually get this whole kind of like Lethal Weapon, Die Hard feel to it. It's like more like, okay, Predator's a side guy, but we're going action, big pack action, cops versus bad guys versus drug lords. So we get that whole Lethal Weapon feel where it's just like, and it's pretty brutal because it's them versus Jamaicans gang, and it's just like, motherfuckers get shot with RoboCop guns. It's kind of like RoboCop too.
Yeah.
It feels like that. So you get all these like shootouts and these brutality. People getting their arms blown up by guns. Grenades getting thrown in the streets. They got the newscast, which that one dude, God, who played that news guy, that Stacy guy? Remember Robert Downey? Wasn't that the dude?
Robert Davi, yeah.
Yeah. So he plays the news guy, and he's just like, so it's kind of feeling like it's like a found footage, like the guy
Morty Downey Jr.
Yeah, Morty Downey Jr. So he's like shooting it like it's a found footage news thing.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's actually shooting like on your news.
Yeah.
Like it's really happening. And it's like a brutality battle. It's like cups. But then a Jamaican gun lord that they're after ends up mysteriously dying in a gruesome way. They're like, who the fuck killed this guy?
Yeah, because they find him skinned alive.
Skinned alive. Like, what the fuck? We're sitting here shooting these bad guys, and some entity that we don't know fucking came out of nowhere and just slaughtered these motherfuckers for us.
Yeah.
So you kind of think Predator's kind of like an anti-hero.
Yeah. And so he's pretty much killing them for sport again. Like, what's a different predator this time? But this predator is killing them for sport.
Which is weird because he's also killing the criminals.
Yeah, so it's basically, he's kind of anti-villain in a way.
Anti-villain hero. Because he's killing all the bad guys for the good guys.
Yeah. And so as the movie goes along, you start to see that Danny Glover's character is trying to piece together what's happening. And you start to see that the predator is starting to, kill him in different various ways.
But he's also trying to fuck with Danny Glover, like, hey, I'm right here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he's not trying to kill Danny Glover. That's the thing. It's weird. It's like, okay, you get your main character, but you're not trying to kill that human. You're make yourself kind of noticeable, and you got Danny Glover seeing him on buildings and shit, but you ain't fucking... It's like, okay, I'm getting the fuck away. Well, it's like you don't want to kill the good guy. You want to get rid of our bad, which is good.
Exactly. And here we brought this up in our last one. We get introduced to Bill Paxton's character, Lambert, who's also a cop, who's working with...
We build him in Aliens, the guy that only played in the 3 biggest franchises, which brings comedy back again, trying to fuck the... Like he did, try to fuck the short hair bitch in fucking Aliens. He tries to fuck the short hair girl in Aliens 2, the one with the shorter length hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Predator 2, it's that Colombian girl. Yeah. And so, he's pretty much like he was in Aliens, the comic relief, and he does have some funny lines when he first arrives at the scene and he gets introduced to Danny Glover.
Yeah.
And pretty much... As the movie goes along, you start to see that they're all trying to unfold what's happening with this predator, and we get to where they're getting picked off one by one, especially...
And it's actually more gruesome.
Oh, yeah, especially
that part where that fuck scene where they're fucking, so they add sex to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, they're fucking and all that, and then that dude gets fucking slaughtered, and then you get all the cool looking tools that the predator's using in this one.
Yeah, you do. And then you also see... You also see a lot of different ways that... Now,
here's another thing. So we get in the story where he's, like we said, Danny Glover's trying to put the pieces together. Then he runs into Gary Busey that plays in this role.
Yeah.
And the guy is actually playing like
a DA agent.
A DA. He's actually a CIA. Like, they're understanding. They come in because they heard the stories, and they actually said... They actually came because the stories matches what happened in the jungle in the first one.
Right, so he's trying to come in as an undercover to try to capture the predator.
Well, it's kind of like E.T. They bring those type people into the shit's going on here, and he talks to Danny Glover, and he goes, your story that we got, the report matches what happened in our agents, our operation that happened in the jungle years ago, which... brings Arnold Schwarzenegger and their backstory.
Right.
Kind of ties it up, says that happened to them. It ties with what we're dealing with, what we've been trying to investigate. So we think it's here.
Yeah, I really like that part.
Yeah, that was a cool concept. And those guys die brutally.
Yeah, especially...
And it was cool because it goes through like we're in a kind of like a meat factory.
Yeah.
Like those people you can't tell between the predators going through that rain and that fucking... Those meat people that's cut up and shit, so he's running through and slicing all Gary Busey's people and killing them left and right.
Yeah, and then you see Gary Busey and his team he's trying to get away and everything, and then he gets killed by that fucking disc that the predator throws at him.
Yeah, the throw. That's what I'm saying. This one adds more tools to the predator.
But then what's really fascinating about also with the climax we get to is we see that Danny Glover gets captured by the predator and he goes to his spaceship.
Well, before that, this is a big scene right here I really enjoyed. There's actually a scene where the predator and him are battling after the predator killed that Jamaican drug lord and died. And remember that whole Jamaican music playing the drums, and it's like he's holding his head. He's like, ah! And carrying that. But there's that alleyway battle where he actually fucking hurt the fucking predator. The predator's in that one old lady's fucking bathroom.
Oh, yeah, I remember
that. Telling her, basically, shut the fuck up, making noises and shit. But at the same time, he's, trying to cure himself from getting slashed open. You get that neon glow in the dark shit.
Yeah.
Blood, and he's sitting there shooting him up, shooting all his medicine in through him and stuff, and wakes that old bitch up, and it hurts him so bad. And this kind of made me laugh. Was the Predator got hurt so bad for sticking his own self that he runs through all those walls, and that woman's like, ah, and he's like, ah, and he's running through all the walls so much in pain. I laughed at that, but like you said, we're at the climax part where it's actually. They're in a spaceship. You don't know it's a spaceship. You're actually in this room.
Well, he kills the Predator with the disc, with the throwing disc.
Him and the Predator are battling each other, and that's where he killed the Predator.
Right. Well, he gets he goes into this chamber where he's like inside the ship, and then him and the Predator fight off in the ship.
Yeah.
And he kills the Predator with the throwing disc. And then this is where we get introduced pretty much a tie-in that will later be with the Alien franchise. Yep. You see that when the Predators appear, they show Danny Glover's character this trophy that's around him, and one of them is actually the alien head from a xenomorph.
Yep.
Which is basically the first.
Cool. It shows like all the skulls they captured,
all the trophies they had.
Yeah, and they got the xenomorph heads and all that stuff. And basically, what's really weird, and this blew me away, it was after he killed the Predator. Because the Predator doesn't recognize like being biased, they recognize by like winning and victory and triumphant, and I guess they recognize by like you earn respect. A group of Predators appear after he kills the main Predator in the city. They all appear, and you start getting thousands of these motherfuckers, and you think, okay, shit's about to go down. But because he earned his respect, they see things differently. As all right, you earn a respect, you proved your worthiness. They actually like congratulated him in a way, and they gave him a weapon that's worth millions of dollars,
right?
From like 1800s. They throw it to Danny Glover. Basically indicating that we've been on Earth for thousands of years.
Yeah, because and then pretty much after that, they give him a pistol, and as a trophy for killing the Predator, and as they respect him. And then the ship takes off, and then we see that Danny Glover's speculating that they might come back someday. Yeah, because he's like preparing for them.
Yeah, so he basically gives him this gun, and it ends with I believe it ends with that theme music, don't it?
I think so, yeah.
From the first one. Doom, 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 which was not in the whole movie, and then just came out of nowhere, which is pretty cool. It's like, oh, yes! The famous, iconic music. I'm sorry, but this movie is underappreciated. This was highly, highly, highly underrated film.
Yes.
This film, actually, to me, and in my opinion, it's almost dead even with the first film.
Yeah, it is.
It is an awesome sequel.
This one is so underappreciated, especially from a lot of critics that fucking criticize it, even back then and even this day.
Yeah.
For nowadays, the fans who were the first film have come to like it a lot more as a cult classic.
Yeah.
Because this one not only does something different from the first one, even
this actually, in my opinion, does what you should always do with the sequel. Never copy the first one. Respect the first one by bringing the events of the first one in the film by talking about it,
right?
But doing your own story, but not copying exactly.
And that's what this one did.
This is what sequels need to fucking do. This is the epiphany of if you're trying to make a sequel to an iconic first film that you should do,
right? And so that's pretty much how it boiled down to. You can still make it a sequel without having to copy the first one, which it didn't, because it's in a different setting, and also you have characters that are not like the first movie.
Yeah.
These are characters that you can actually see as like everyday people.
And in city life.
Exactly.
And I really enjoy this film. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 too. It's definitely up there.
It's pretty much almost up there with the first one.
Yeah, and plus the way that they do more expanded with the Predator, with how he's able to kill him and everything, it really got to me a lot.
Brought more Predators. It did everything right with this film, pretty much. The only thing, only cons you would bitch
only cons I would ever really have is like maybe they could have like
expanded more of the story and the backstory of the Predator,
or maybe elaborates. Yeah, maybe do a little bit more of that, and maybe could have brought some tie-ins more to the first one. But I at least kept it. They at least kept it subtle, so I can't really judge them on that. So anyway, yeah, that's really all I got. I really do like the second one a lot, and I think it's very underrated.
Yep.
Now, the next one we're going to talk to
later.
now. Well, first of all, we're going to talk now. We're going in between because we're kind of going in order. We're going now to the next one, which is Aliens versus Predator.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, we will get to Predators later, but we want to talk about this one because we're going by the years they came out with. So before we get to this one, keep in mind, this is based on a series of comic. This was actually in comic book form and in video game form before the next one came out.
Right. So a little back history, because I'm a lot older than him, and I actually was around when this game was on, when we used to play pinball and actual arcade games. This game was a huge arcade success.
Yeah.
This was like, when this game came out, this was probably one of the most played arcade games in history at the time.
Yeah.
I remember going from the mall to Walmart to pretty much the skating rink was the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
And this fucking series, dude, like, this shit was so big on arcade that eventually it went to game consoles.
Yeah, and I remember. Well, I never played it, but I seen that it went to the Atari Jaguar. It was very rare console, but I remember it was part of that. And then there was other ones that came out too. Like the one I played was called Aliens vs. Predator Extinction, which came out on the PlayStation 2.
And this is the kind of game that when I was little, or teenager or whatever, I remember going to the skating rink, and it'll be like 10 of us, like, just playing it. And this game is so addicting. Like, we would spend hours on this motherfucker.
Yeah, because
like, everybody would play.
Wasn't those also where you could play as the Predator, the Alien, and the Marines?
Yeah, you could play everything, dude. I fucking enjoyed it, dude. We really fucking enjoyed it, dude.
So
this was a big fucking thing, dude.
So you can tell that
this is what pretty much started that. Please make this a movie.
And for a while, they did in comic books because the comic books had a lot of cool ideas.
At the same time, I hung out with some comic book friends. Keep in mind, I love comics. I respect what they do. I can't say I'm a comic book fan. I can't dub myself that because I never truly went through comic books like that. But I had some friends who were die hard. And I remember growing up, oh my god, my comic book friends, Eddie, let's go to the comic book store, man. I can get that Aliens vs. Predator, dude. That's all it was in my time, was Aliens vs. fucking, I mean, it was other shit too, but Aliens vs. Predator was a mid to late 90s thing.
Yeah.
It was a big fucking thing, dude.
Yeah.
And it was huge, and
yeah, because the stories they had were very clever with how they crossed over to each other's paths in those stories.
Yes, it was a big thing, dude. It was a huge thing. So then we finally get to 2004.
This was actually in development for a long time because after Predator 2 came out, they actually wanted to do a follow-up with a crossover with Aliens vs. Predator. But the problem was, much like with Freddy vs. Jason, a lot of fucking script problems came up. So it wasn't until about 8 years later when they decided, or 12 years later, they decided to finally bring one out. Or 14 years later, they brought out Alien vs. Predator.
Which was, for years this movie was, please, directors, somebody in Hollywood make this film. It was that big.
Yes.
Asked for. It was the most asked for film to be made of the time.
Yeah. And so
it finally got
made, and pretty much what it boiled down to, well, the first problem that came across that was behind the scenes was they were trying to make it to where they couldn't decide whether it was going to be R-rated or PG-13. And when it came out, this was the biggest problem that a lot of fans had: PG-13.
Yeah.
So you have.
I remember when I first seen the rating, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And Aliens vs. Predator fucking PG-13. Of all the films you've ever made of both these franchises, the first one's gonna be PG-13? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. And they did make that rating with it because
I know, because I remember when I seen that, oh god, this is when people started really sweating balls. Oh my god, you finally did it. It's finally here. Aliens vs. Predator. PG-13? What the fuck?
Well,
and everybody sweated bullets, dude. I'm talking about fucking suicide rates were going up.
Now, I do remember hearing...
Watches.
I remember when the trailer first came out, and it got me curious because before the rating was even announced, the trailer did get me curious where it said, whoever wins, we lose.
Yeah.
And it had it where it had the Predator and then face the alien. It kind of like in the shots and stuff. It was a good teaser trailer for that.
It was a good teaser, but man, when that rating came out, talking about sweating bullets.
Yes.
Sweat
because
bullets.
20th Century Fox, who is known for being very greedy with their money, had to try to get with that PG-13 crowd, and so they decided to make it a more watered-down movie. So now we get it to where this story in Predator vs. Predator, where you have a group of research team that is actually in modern times. This one is the first, like, alien film out of the Alien series that actually takes place in modern times, because this one takes place in 2004, where it's in Alaska, or in, like, the Pacific, it's in, like, Antarctica, I believe, and they go, this research team led by Lance Henriksen, who is yet another bishop. He's pretty much like the ancestor to the later bishops we see. Mm-hmm. Him and his team are going to Antarctica to find this this pyramid or whatever that's inside. And when they get there, they discover that there's pretty much this story involving how, back in the day, there's aliens and predators that were pretty much at war with each other. And then they were... like, this is the continuity that fucking doesn't make sense right here. You have these aliens and predators that they have, like, a war that's been going on for so long, which is cool in concept, but they don't explain how these aliens, like, have been around for so long.
Yeah, that's the thing that I agree with you. So we get Alien. If you think back in history, you think of Alien, right?
Right.
And you think of...
Sci-Fi?
No. You think of Alien, the first one, which was like, what? Wasn't it set way in the fucking future?
23rd century?
23rd century. So, and that's when they're first ever discovered. This is a continuity issue. So you get them discovered in 2020-something. But whenever Alien and vs. Predator is actually set in modern times, as is. So we're just like living like we're living. So it's not so far in the future. But they were discovered in 2020, 2030, 2400 in the fucking movie. Yeah. So it makes no sense because then the Predators would have already been known about. So it's like really kills a lot of continuity with this franchise, dude. Like both of them. Alright, so you're saying that aliens were 2400. So the people in 2400... just discovered the aliens, but the Aliens vs. Predators set in modern times in 2004 makes no fucking sense.
I don't get it.
This is not making no fucking sense at all.
I mean...
especially if you're trying to go future with the first Aliens vs. Predator, but then you gotta recognize that Requiem went on Earth as everyday people. Exactly. So it's indication that Aliens vs. Predator, the first one was actually set in 2004. Aliens weren't discovered till 396 fucking years later. It makes no fucking sense.
That's what I'm saying. I can buy the Predators because they probably come from like a distant race or whatever. This flashback that they show where it shows like all the like in the ancient pyramids. I'm like, okay, are you telling me these aliens, which are, keep in mind, I'm pretty sure these are the same fucking aliens we've seen in the future.
And let me explain something. If this is the early bishop, why did he not pass it up to the other bishops?
Exactly.
There's so much continuity issue, it's unreal.
Yeah, because you would think in the later films where Bishop's like, oh, by the way, there's a different race we're supposed to be dealing with because my ancestor had dealing with that before. They don't ever bring that up in the later films.
So they basically fucked the continuity, destroyed all what was Aliens continuity with. So, okay, so you get continuity, destroyed. PG-13, yep, check, you fucked that up. And gave it a PG-13.
Well, on that,
so let's continue on with the story now. So we got two fuck-ups.
So you get to the story where they come across the aliens at first, where, they're sneaking around and shit. And while I do like the aliens look in this one, I did have a problem with the fucking Predators look in this one because they made them so bulky and everything. I'm like, you can tell they're obviously played by wrestlers.
Yeah.
Because they're like so huge and everything compared to what the Predators look like in the other ones. Because the other ones, they look more slimmer. You could actually blend in more.
I say I can agree with you on this one because then it kills like, okay, are these super predators? Okay, then where were they at?
Yeah.
So you get a lot of questions, man. What the Predator? And the Predator is actually always set in modern times, but yet the Predator's been bad. See, the continuity is so fucking just like you're pulling your hair out because you thought it couldn't get any worse with PG-13. That's already one of the concepts. Now the storyline is fucking destroyed. What the fuck, man?
That's what I'm saying. Like and not to mention these characters that they do, they're very boring. We don't really get to know much of them. They're your typical card-bar character.
Not to mention because it's PG-13 and what we expected. Very bloodless. Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, we are aware there's an unrated version out there, which I own, which goes a little bit more in gore depth.
But
not enough. Most of the gore they show is like splash of blood on like the walls.
See, no, that's lazy. I can splash blood all fucking day. You pay me, I'll fucking do that. That ain't shit.
Yeah.
I could do that from my video camera.
That's what I'm saying. That's all they do on the unrated version from what I've seen. And believe it or not, this one was actually directed by the same guy who, again, much like with other video game, well, he's known for other franchises, Paul W.S. Anderson, who brought us the first Resident Evil movie, which I liked, but keep in mind, this is at the point where he was pretty much fucking up throughout the years.
Yeah, throughout the years. So, that don't help. So, do you have a bad director? Check. So, that's 3 fucking horrible checks right there for you.
Now, keep in mind, I have a soft spot.
Oh, wait, let's do 4 because now it's bloodless, and a lot of deaths happen off screen.
Mm-hmm. And you get some weird ones, too. Remember that part where the dude gets killed by, like, that web or whatever, and then his face splits, but you don't see no blood?
Yeah, you don't see no blood. Because it had to be bloodless. Why? Because you made it PG or fucking teen.
Yeah.
People, I understand what your bitching is for other people, but these are the type films that don't need to be seen from kids from day one. So why should we lower it for them?
Right.
When they shouldn't be watching what should be all franchises, all the films of both franchises have been R-rated the whole entire time. Why do we downgrade for the children? I mean, really. And if they get in, they get in. That's not your fault that, hey, kid, you're getting in. You play the games. They were bloody. You've seen the movies. You obviously seen the movies if you love the game. So they're bloody anyways. You knew that. So we're going to make this R-rated. If you get in, that's on your ass.
That's what I'm saying. That alienates your viewers because, for one, the other films were R-rated.
Let me explain that a little bit better. I'm a video game guy. I played it. I played Aliens vs. Predator. You know what got me into that game? Because I watched both of the fucking franchises when they were hard R. Both of them was. So I knew, going into this, I wanted to see the blood and the gore. Common sense! You make it R-rated.
Yeah.
You don't make it for fucking... because they're younger, we're going to make it PG-13 so they can't see it. Motherfucker, I was younger, and I still got in, and I knew getting in, I wanted to see that because I seen the other fucking films. I knew it was going to be that. You ain't going to offend me. I wanted to see the shit like that. Really? PG-13? What, are you going to attract kids that don't know what the fucking franchise is? They won't go see it. Guess what? At the end of your theoretical term, the ones who didn't know anything about both these franchises didn't go see it.
Exactly.
You fucking idiots. I mean, it's common fucking sense. And, oh my god, dude, it was a nightmare. And the movie that was probably one of the most asked movies to be made in history.
Yeah.
Failed so fucking miserably. I was like, oh my god, this
doesn't help
is so
too
fucking
that,
bad.
Okay, so...
And I went and seen this opening day because I played the games, the arcade games. I went with my buddy. I went with like 5 or 6 of my buddies that were... the people I played with, that big group of people, we all went on opening day seeing this.
Yeah, I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it on video. But anyway, pretty much one of the things I will defend with this one, Alyssa, a little bit, the fight scenes for what they use was fun.
Aliens versus Predator.
When they actually get to the Alien versus Predator, it's fun.
Yeah.
But they do some shit that's kind of weird. Like, you notice in this one, because the Predator's doing more hand-to-hand combat, he's doing obvious fucking wrestling moves on the alien, which was weird
because obviously
it's a wrestler.
You predict them to all be wrestlers, so it didn't make no difference.
Yeah,
but
anyway,
the ending.
The ending, though, I will say was kind of cool because you get the fucking queen alien come out, and then. Well, it's kind of disappointing because she got killed by fucking rubble that comes down. Because the Predator does a self-destruct where he throws a bomb in there, and then it kills it makes the alien queen get destroyed by the rubble. But then the alien queen escapes, and then she kills she dies just in time to stab the Predator before he dies.
Yeah.
And then this scene right here, though, in theory, can work if it was done right. The film ends where the main girl, who's the only one left, she survives. The main archaeologist girl, she survives. Yeah. The other predators come down to pick up their predator leader, and we're basically they take him to the spaceship, and they're honoring him as death. They leave him there, and he's dead. Now, here's one thing I will say was kind of cool when I first seen it. The body's laying there, and then you see all of a sudden a fucking chest burster come out of the Predator, which I thought that was
cool. A cool thing. I will give you that. That was
cool because
you're indicating that we're going to get a
Pred alien, which could in concept can work. You can really do so much with that.
Yeah, and it'd be cool, and that would interest me in too, as long as I do an R-rated.
Yeah, and so. That pretty much was the only highlights I had. The fight scenes for what they did was fun for what they did, and in theory, with the whole story they could have went with, probably could have worked. But other than that, this movie was fucking terrible. This was awful. This was so poorly done as a franchise that
I most respected and begged franchise. I expected it to go R rating and go to high budgety. Big production, people gonna put all their might in this film.
Yeah.
And I was actually pretty shocked at how they carelessly made this film.
I mean, I'll give props to
they really shit on a lot of people.
Minus some of the weird CGI parts with some of the effects they use. Some of the creature effects are alright, the alien looks.
Yeah.
The Predator looks I have a problem with, but the aliens look cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm going to give this film probably a 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go 2 out of 10. This was fucking horrible.
It was.
It was so fucking unbearable to fucking watch, man, because I grew up with this video game, man, and this spit on everybody.
This insulted not only fans of Alien, but also Predator.
Yeah. But what's sad is what's yet to come.
Oh, yes. So, after the success, it was pretty much a moderate success with this one. Didn't make a lot. I mean, it was a profit, but it wasn't a huge hit. So, it was likely a sequel would follow with the next Alien vs. Predator. So, we actually got quite a gap. It was about 4 years. 3 years. It was 2004, 2007. So, in 2007, we got a teaser trailer for a film called Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which from the trailer...
Sequel to the Alien
which is sequel to the next one. Now, this trailer, I will say, was cool from what I've seen of it. Because basically the trailer has a weird Christmas theme playing. Because it plays Silent Night playing on this on the song. Because it shows a spaceship of the Predator going to Earth. And pretty much the aliens get loose and they're invading Earth now. So, concept on paper... You can do much you can do with this concept.
I remember seeing the trailer, and I remember also seeing the concept on paper, and I was like, oh my god. And it was already...
On Earth!
It was going to be already.
Yeah.
So, I said, okay, maybe they knew what they fucked up, and we're finally going to get it. So, I remember my friend saying that was pissed off, that played the games, and was pissed off about the first one, said, oh my god, they're going to fix it. Fucking A! That's what we asked. Thank you, Hollywood.
So it was like they actually listened to the fans.
So it's like, okay, all right.
And not to mention, in the trailer, too, it showed that we also got introduced to some other characters in the film. They got one woman that kind of looked like Ripley, and I was like, oh shit, is that Ripley?
Yeah.
So basically on paper, you can do so much with this. Okay, because... We didn't bring this up in the other one.
I knew the continuity was already fucked up.
Right, but I was going to say...
We're just going to go off of this.
We already had, a long time ago, we originally were supposed to get Alien 3 on Earth, but that changed to a different movie. Because there's a teaser trailer they had a long time ago that showed the alien was going to be on Earth.
Yeah.
But that never happened. So this is the first one we actually get to see the aliens come to Earth.
Yep.
Which is cool on paper. So I go into this film, and now keep in mind, I didn't see this in theaters, but he has.
Yeah.
But I remember going to this thinking, all right, you know what? I'm going to give this one a shot because it's going to be R-rated again. Cool. I'm down for it. And boy, was I fucking wrong.
Oh my god, dude.
Now, he's seen this film in theaters, but he tell you a story where, well...
Okay. How the fuck do you shoot this movie so black and dark that you literally cannot see this fucking movie in daylight?
You can't.
This movie is actually, and they actually admitted, a massive, and this is considered one of the massive fuck-ups in Hollywood history, that a film got finalized and approved, went through all the hiccups, and everything, got everything to come out, and you visually cannot see the film.
You can't.
You cannot literally see the fucking movie.
Now,
it's so bad. I got up in 15 minutes, and so did many people in theaters, and trust me, it was a sold-out crowd at first, because of the name, the approval, the promotions, everything. Everybody got up and literally walked the fuck out. We could not literally see that. We asked the projector guy, he told us that's what we got, man. I understand, I've seen the movie myself, dude. You can't see it, I'm sorry, guys. Everybody was like, where's our money? We want it back.
Damn.
Yeah, it was that bad. People walked out. I mean, they said, man, fucking, this is bad. Are you telling me that's the final cut? Yo, we're not fucking the theater up. That's not us. That ain't the projector. That's the movie.
Now,
and I was like, I looked up, and I remember I was going to watch this and finish this movie. I was going to go to a party and shit. I said, they're like, we can't give your money back and all that stuff. You guys you can go back in. It was like, I looked at the dude. I said, I'm done, dude. I'm fucking gone. Fuck this movie.
I would have been too.
Yeah, I walked the fuck out, dude.
Keep in mind, if you see the trailer of this one, of this film, you'll notice that the trailer makes it a lot more brighter and more colorful looking.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
they did with the film, because when the trailer, it's so much brighter. When the film, it's like, the fuck?
Even that scene in the trailer is pitch black.
Yeah, the scene in the forest when they first come to Earth, it's pitch black in the fucking movie. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And it's light as fuck in the fucking trailer.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yes, I'm not doing this review saying I didn't fit. I did eventually get it on video and watched it to give it a true closure to it. I did eventually rent it on video after walking out in theaters on that movie. Yeah, and this is back when movies were like $6, so it wasn't nothing on me. So I said, "Fuck you guys!" I got girls, I got a party to go to, because I remember I was going to hang out with some friends, and all them. So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go to that because I think that's gonna please me more than watching 2 hours of fucking pitch black bullshit." I said, "The darker than the diarrhea," I fucking just dropped.
Yeah. So
fuck this.
Anyway, basically, the story it picks up right where the last one lives off, where you have the Pred alien coming loose, and it kills pretty much all the predators there on the spaceship.
Yeah.
Crash lands on Earth, and then we see that the alien is pretty much loose on Earth, and, well, before we get to this is one of my right from the beginning, I know this movie's going to fucked up. So, this film literally spends almost 10 fucking minutes introducing 20 main fucking characters that out of every single one of these, I fucking hated. You have stereotypical ones too. You have the guy who can't get pussy. You have the mother who is trying to take care of her son, whatever. Yeah. You have all these fucking
unlikable characters.
They're all
fucking bad acting. I don't think anybody went on to act again.
Well, the main girl in the movie, she was off at 24, so she was the only one that did decent as far as performance. But anyway, the characters themselves were all bad.
It was career-ending acting.
It was bad. You also have the guy who comes in who's trying to pick on the dude, like he's like the bully or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck am I watching?
Why do you have to have a bully in this film? What does a bully got anything to do with being like really part of it? And why would the predators and aliens care about he's bullying another human?
Yeah,
I mean, why do you have to have that in there? You don't have to have a bully in everything. That's what I'm saying. You do not.
And so we get into this. And they spend like 10 minutes just introducing, like, oh my fucking god, are you still introducing more characters?
Yeah.
So it goes along, and then we see that the aliens are killing this hunter and his son, which that was pretty brutal. I'll give them that because they killed a kid in one scene where the kid gets killed. Yeah. The problem was the fucking filter over the camera lens made it so dark I couldn't tell what was happening.
I know, that's the thing throughout this film. I walked out because this literally is the... Dude, I'm hoping... I think I read somewhere they admitted, oh my god, who the fuck approved this? Hollywood was even shocked. Hollywood was going around asking, who the fuck approved this movie? It's already too late. It's already out. We didn't see it. You guys approved it.
It was post-production. After the trailer was released, that's when they went back and put that filter over it.
Yeah, it was so fucking dark, dude. It's like looking... Go and look at the blackest fucking thing in your fucking house. Stare at it for fucking almost 2 hours. That is the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Try to look at Predator throughout that pitch black thing you're looking at. Can't fucking tell.
Yeah. And so, basically, it goes along where everyone is... After we get our fucking 20 main characters trying to survive, unlikable characters trying to survive, we see... In concept-wise, we do get to see a Pred alien on screen, where he is fighting the Predator and all that.
Which is cool,
I guess. But the problem is with this, from what I remember, they shoot this scene in the fucking rain, which, in the rain, I like for what they could have went with, but...
It's so black.
It's so
black.
Literally every scene...
And it's quick scenes. It's like so fast, you're like, hold on, I got to visually try to look at the fucking screen. Now you're also moving fast?
Yeah, it doesn't help it's in the rain either where I can't pay attention.
And rain, you got the three concepts that can make this movie completely blind that you can't see. You're like fucking, I swear to God, I hate to say this, I'm sorry, I'm fucking, this is cruel, but I'm like Ray Charles in this fucking movie, like, reaching like, hold up. Stevie, did you see that? I didn't see a damn thing. This movie, I swear to God, I thought I was going to have to go see a fucking eye doctor. Hey, man, is my eyes okay? Because I couldn't see shit in the last movie I watched.
Not just the way it was shot, but they do a lot of close-ups, too, when they're fighting.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't tell what's going on.
This movie had the worst thing you could possibly do as a guy who produces and cinematography and visuals. You work in that department in a film, you did all what could be wrong with the film. You absolutely flatlined as a cinematographer. You fucking failed in every aspect. You made it so fast, the most pitch black piece of shit I've ever seen. You can't see shit on that. Then you made it so close that even when movies come out so perfectly clear, even close-ups can kind of be kind of hard.
Yeah.
You did all three of them. You even made it pitch black doing that. What the fuck? Dude, go outside and just fucking shoot yourself or find another goddamn fucking business.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you are a dumbass. You prove that piece of shit. I don't know. And it's sad because you're the one who had to actually watch the film and prove it. You had to actually watch the whole film. What the fuck? How did you see that?
Yeah.
Were you watching goddamn military eye goggles watching that shit?
Yeah.
Or you wearing them little fucking zzz, like Jurassic Park? I can see it. Maybe they can see it without these. Maybe they'll just give them in theaters for free.
Yeah. So anyway, after going on so long about the rant with that, basically we get to where we get them killed off one by one, and while the gore, from what we could tell from what we've seen with the gore, it looked fine. So I at least give this one more with the gore aspect.
Yeah.
And we get to the climax, which involves them escaping, where the city gets blown up by a nuke.
And it's basically, you get the last scene with the alien prayer about to just pretty much kill each other. And it
blows up. And so
that was anticlimactic.
Yeah,
like,
so
God.
They pretty much...
They wrecked this fucking film beyond repair.
They did.
This fucking franchise, what started out was probably one of the most favorable arcade games of its time.
And again,
they fucking destroyed a franchise.
That though, like
this was a dog shit.
This to me is the equivalent of what not to do.
And this movie came out in 2007. This was my 2007 worst film of the year.
Yeah.
This was down.
This is everything.
Downright dog
this is
shit.
everything the first film tried to do better, or tried to make the first film better, but you made it even worse by making the fucking movie not watchable. And not to mention, you could have made
favorable franchise, like I said, the video game arcade, to this fucking dog shit.
Yeah. So overall, from the things I liked with this one, I can say good gore, decent fight scenes from what you could see in. But other than that, and I do like the Predator alien aspect they went with. So I'll give it that. But other than that, this film is so this is the worst out of the franchise. Because I hate the first one, but this one made it to a point where I want to tear my fucking head off.
Yeah, this was, I'm going to say that right this is Good Day to Die Hard bad. Mm-hmm. It is that bad. Dude, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have a hard time. If you offer me $1 on the road, I'm going to have a hard time giving you my $1 on that.
Yeah.
It's that bad. I'm sorry. I almost can't own this fucking movie. It's that bad.
Just for the gore, I'll give it probably 1.5.
Okay.
Just for that.
Okay.
But that's it.
I kind of want
1.5 out of 10.
I want to give this movie a 0, almost 0.5, man. I almost want to give this movie a 0.5, but since it made theaters, man, I want to give this a 0.5 out of 10, but I think I'm being nice here when I give it a 1 out of 10. I think 1 out of 10 is actually giving it too nice. I think it's that bad of a film.
It's the complete worst. I mean, there's nothing.
It's almost flat out 0.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason because the gore, from what I could see with the gore, at least was fun. But that's it. Like, if this is the Good Day and Die part of the series.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's my 2007's worst film. This movie is 2007's worst film. This movie, I want to give it a 0. It's that fucking bad. But I'll give it just 1 point, man. I mean, I'm hard to say this, but it's a 1 out of 10. It's fucking that bad.
So, fair enough. So, basically, after this one, they kind of pretty much called it quits.
This killed it.
This killed the franchise.
This killed the
Versus franchise.
Yep.
And so, we had to actually wait 3 years later before we ever came across another Predator movie, because pretty much between this and the next one, Robert Rodriguez got a hold of pretty much the film rights for a little while.
Which is weird, and that kind of a guy got a hold of it.
He got a hold of the film rights to produce the next one, which we're going to talk about, called Predators, which basically got me curious, because not only did they bring in, like, Rodriguez on the case, but he was basically making it to where he was going to continue where, like, he was going to basically, this is kind of
this weird. Is where, okay, this kind of threw me off, because the way they did the trailer, I thought it was a reboot.
Right. The plot is basically you have these. Well, the backstory is he wanted to make it as a sequel to the first one, but he didn't necessarily say that he was ignoring 2. So he's kind of making a sequel to 2, but not really. He's more making a sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
So anyway, the story. When I seen the trailer of this, I was kind of curious. I was like, "Holy shit, this looks fucking cool!" Because
I thought the trailer was all right. Yeah.
Because you have not only the original classic look of the Predators, but you see other Predators coming in that look different too, which look cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get the story involving Adrian Brody's character, who is a Marine. I think he's a Marine or something. Well,
you actually get him started out where it's actually just a pretty weird starting, where he's falling out of the sky.
Yeah, he's falling out of the sky, and he comes down to this jungle, and then he comes across like these other group of people that have fallen there, and he realizes that they're all convicts, basically.
And you thought it was maybe it's an own written different story, but kind of the same as the first one.
Yeah, because
the jungle.
It is basically the same similar setting, but basically this story involves him and these other guys. They're trying to figure out what happened, because they realized they came out at the same time.
Yeah, they were blacked out.
They were blacked out
from where they were last was, and then they wake up falling out of the sky.
And then they pretty much see that that on the planet, that where they're at, they're not actually on Earth. They're on a planet full of predators.
Yeah, they're in another. Well, that's later in the story. They discover they're not on Earth. They're actually in another world, another planet.
And so pretty much you have it to where they're trying to survive from these weird dog things that come at first, because in this movie, they kind of expand upon the
Predator world.
Predator world.
There's actually more.
There's actually more. Them. Yeah, where you see like these dogs coming after them.
They got animals and bugs and all that.
Yeah,
which is cool. It was cool change. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have these dogs come after them, and you get appearances from like pretty other big names. You get Danny Trejo in one part. You also get Topher Grace, and you get that chick from I Am Legend.
Yeah.
And pretty much throughout the film, they're trying to survive, and they realize
try to figure out how they got there,
and then they come across these bodies that were pretty much skinned alive,
yeah.
like the first film, and they discover that they're being hunted,
yeah.
and so that's when we get introduced to these other. That's when we get to see these predators that come out that are hunting them one by one, and then you're not only seeing one predator, but you're seeing multiple ones.
Yeah, you're seeing multiple. You're on another planet, and basically you get like good chemistry with these people, and you get some comic reliefs and stuff, and you know, like Danny Trejo's death was pretty fucking cool and all that, and
then you also get the other guy, I forgot his name, the kind of big muscle dude.
Yeah, but then you get a guy that's I forgot him. He was a scientist.
Yeah, Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
No, he was a doctor.
Doctor. So you get like him trying to help him out. But it was pretty cool seeing this world. It's kind of like an Avatar world.
It is, yeah.
Like
it felt like it.
Yeah, Avatar. So they're going through this, and you get to... It's cool, I guess. You can see the actual Predator's real home. Mm-hmm. So I thought that concept was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you get to actually see where they live, personally.
Yeah. But, and then you also get to see these other types of predators that come out later in the film. But before we get to that, you also discover that as the film was long, when they're trying to survive... You see that they come across a kind of a hermit. Well, no, first they're trying to look like they're about to get killed off by the predator, but then there's a guy who shows up in like a predator gear, and it's revealed to be Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne. So we to find out that we actually they've dropped previous military people. So then when they start talking to Lawrence Fishburne, we get history that whoever's dropping them off has been doing this for many years, where they drop a certain amount. What they basically do is, back in Earth, they're really wanting to discover this planet, but they don't understand what's going on with this planet. So they're afraid to test it themselves. So what they do is they go and 5, 10, 12 of their certain choices, and then they kidnap them, and they just drop them off. And they want to pretty much guinea pig them and see what happens when they do land there. Yeah. So we hear from Lawrence Fishburne, like, he was from the previous 10, 12 people that got dropped off, and he's the only survivor.
And he's basically and he's my favorite character of the movie, because throughout this entire part that he's in, he's basically having like a split personality where he's like talking to himself and shit. He's kind of like having that like losing his mind kind of angle. And
people don't understand this. Technically, if you think about it, this is actually Predators 3.
It is.
Because there's a scene, and this really threw me off. I actually had to watch this a second time to understand this. I thought that this was the same jungle. I didn't see the part where they see the moons and like, oh, we're another planet. I thought this was the actual jungle from the first one. But anyways, after watching it, we actually get a backstory where they're sitting there in this little thing and say, I read it. This one dude goes, I read about this. This happened on Earth.
Yeah.
In a jungle. And they were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's thing. Then one person said, yeah, I read something about this happened in the city, part 2. So this is actually 3.
I forgot about that part.
So the new one that's come, we'll talk about that a little bit, it's technically 4. So this is actually 3.
Yeah.
So they bring up, okay, so this is the official trilogy, the third one. So it's like, all right. So I started, like, I'm up and down and throughout the film. Like, I get bored or I'm worried about this concept. And then it pays. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's like I'm like this throughout the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, as we go see along the film, we see that pretty much... It threw me off at first because I was wondering what the deal was with Lawrence Fishburne's character, because... He's like talking to himself and shit, and it's almost like he's kind of a gatekeeper for the Predators, because he's saying that he's been able to take down the predators and everything for a while, and then all of a sudden he gets killed off by the predators.
He gets killed off too quick, which is kind of...
Yeah, that disappointed me. I was like, man, I wanted to see more of his character.
Yeah, you built him up for that, really.
Yeah.
You know, you had him survive. What was it even?
Because I wanted to see kind of a backstory with him, you know?
I got it.
But anyway, we get it to where, as it moves along, you start to see that there's actually a pretty cool twist that they do later in the film where you find out that the predators actually have other forms. Like you see the predators like original suits, and then you see the original predator, and then you see like the other breeds of predator.
You get in this human versus predator battle, so you get the regular sized predators you guys see. You find out they actually have a more giant form of them.
Yeah.
So there's ones that are actually 100 times bigger than they are. And they're more buffer, they got more power, they got more stuff, they got more this and that. And the predators that we're used to seeing in all the other films are actually just mini predators in this world. They're actually being hunted themselves by these ultimate predators. So basically you got the predators who we thought were villains all along, who in the other films are actually like, hey, humans, you know, let's team up together.
Yeah. And so we also get it to where this is the first time I've seen this is one of my favorite fight scenes where you get the Yakuza dude who has the samurai sword and he fights the predator when the other two are trying to run off.
Yeah.
Because that scene right there when he's fighting him was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But another thing I liked was I love this twist they do with Topher Grace's character, where it's discovered that he's actually a fucking serial killer, and he's actually trying to kill the girl.
Yeah,
and then he gets his ass killed by was it Adrian Brody or the Predator that killed him?
I forgot, dude. I haven't seen it since it first came out. I went in theaters.
I did too. But anyway, we finally get to our climax, which is similar to the first one again because it shows that Adrian Brody's character is trying to go one-on-one with the Predator like Arnold did in the first one, where he puts the mud on to avoid the
So
body.
I guess it's paying respect from that one. And it's funny because what I thought about the film at first, I was kind of disappointed, but it actually grew on me. It actually did grow on me after watching it a few other times. I actually got to say it grew on me. I think I was too harsh without actually... I think what I did was I watched the film so fast. This is one of the films that I think you have to watch more than once. Because at first I thought it was like, okay, this and that. You're copying on the first one. This isn't the sequel. This is just y'all standalone. So you're fucking up the good franchise, what was good. I think that I was watching the scene so quick that whenever I went home and I watched it maybe another time and then I watched it again and again, I was like, alright, so if I did this and did this, okay, I respect that.
Yeah.
So it built on to me. I will admit that my biggest bitch back in the day was Adrian Brody, because I remember coming off King Kong and all that shit. I just seen him too scrawny for the role, so I kind of bashed him. But then again, I do like the dude, so it kind of grew on me, because I tore him up back in the day. Like, I used to always tear him up, because I was like, man, you're too scrawny for this fucking role, dude. I don't like you in this movie. And all that stuff. But then it kind of grew on me. I guess I can kind of accept it. Would I went with somebody else? I admit I probably would have. Yeah. But for what it is, it's alright. His performance was alright.
Yeah, I like that he at least grew into a lot of muscle for the role too, and I like the deep voice they gave for him, which I thought was cool. Yeah. So I do like his character of how
maybe I do accept that for once they don't have to go and get somebody who has to be Arnold muscled to take down a Predator. It's somebody who is weak that actually finds ways to defeat.
So I thought that makes it more vulnerable.
I guess
it makes the vulnerability more believable.
Yeah, it's more believable. You don't have that typical, I got muscles out here, I can crush your skull and that badass shit. You get a guy who looks like he pushes pencils with with his fingers, and he has a hard time, and the guy has to develop ways to defeat the guy.
Yeah. So as we get to our climax, we see that pretty much
them and the
Brody.
humans and Brody and all them are fighting the big old fucking...
Yeah, and those motherfuckers are big. But also you get to see Predator versus Predator action, where the Predators are actually trying to kill each other.
Yep.
You're seeing the original Predator fighting the other Predators.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Yep.
So we get to the climax.
And you get also the cool spine tear scene.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Gruesome, yeah.
So we basically get to the climax where Brody kills the Predator, and we see that it's only him and the girl left. And then we get this cool ending where it shows that there's more things coming down from the sky, like from the beginning of the movie, where you see like the dogs and stuff, indicating that there's probably more at stake that's going to happen later.
Yep.
Like how it ended with 2.
Yeah.
So overall, I do really like Predators. I thought it was a great comeback for the series, especially coming off the shitty Alien vs. Predator movie.
I gotta say, this is one of the films that I actually went, when I first seen it, I bashed it, and after watching it 2-3 times, actually jumped it up on grade. Like, you ever have a movie you ever watched that you watched it the first time, you would give it like something like 4 out of 10, but then out of nowhere you're like, you know what, after watching it 3 times, I'm going to go 7.5.
Yeah.
This is one of those films. This is one of these films I actually gave a bad grade at first, but man, after watching it a few times and actually catching a lot of shit I didn't catch, and I part 2 to 2 together, and then some of the things they respect about the original and they talked about, I was like, okay, alright, I'm going to give this, I like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it too, and with that, overall, I'm going to give the movie an 8 out of 10. Now, it's not as good as, say, 2 and 1, but it's still a great, fresh start for what they're doing with the series.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Now, after this one, it was assumed that they were probably going to follow a sequel right after this one, but things came up and they didn't really get a chance to really follow up with it. But now, Shane Black, who you may remember who played Hawkins from the first one, he actually got a hold of the film, and now he's going to make his next one called The Predator.
Yeah.
And from what we're speculating here, I think he's probably going to continue from the first 2 films. I don't know if he's following Predators.
Yeah.
But
so we see Predators as 3, but as far as continuity-wise, from what I'm getting at, the Predators that we see with Fred Rodriguez directing, that might actually, in continuity-wise, might be part 4. And this one is actually supposed to be the true 3rd one, which is actually supposed to bring up even Arnold and even Danny Glover. Yeah.
Which would be cool, because, it would make sense,
I mean, even if that, I could respect Rodriguez as part 4. I can move it up.
Yeah, I could say that.
Yeah, I can move
make
it
to
as
where
4.
this one's a prequel instead of...
It's cool to see that the new one might be part 3. It's not saying it's the true part 3, as in saying 4 sucked, or this one sucked, but it'd be cool if they did make a true 3 that connects those on our time, because 4 is technically way in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because Predators is still, like, in the future and everything.
Yeah.
So, I hope they at least mention some kind of continuity with Predators, because I really think because it did so well.
What would be cool is if they respect the first 2.
No, that's what I'm saying. At least all 3 of them.
And then they battle it out due to the thing in the film. And at the same time, you get a storyline of the Predators are fighting in part 3, the new one that's coming out.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you get another storyline of some kind of government group wanting to interfere, and they're kind of rogue, they're kind of dickheads. And at the end, they do their thing, and it shows how they said, oh, we found the Predator planet. And then at the end, it shows them dropping people out of the sky, and that indicates that's going to lead into 4, which is Rodriguez. Maybe.
Oh, that would be
that
cool.
would be good, because you can connect 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that would praise more Freddy Rodriguez's film and respect that, because I think it, as much as I did hate the film at first and I ended up liking it later on, I think it respects being part of the series.
Yeah, and plus, also, they've announced that supposedly we're going to get probably Arnold back in the role as Dutch in this one, which would be cool, because I always want to see if he would ever return in the role.
Yeah, they're wanting to bring the actual first people from the first film back, but they said they will promise to bring up the events of what happened in part 2 as far as the backstory. Right.
I understand you probably can't get Danny Glover, but they did say they're trying to get Arnold back.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you had Arnold and Danny Glover walk in and do kind of like a Expendables type thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I really do enjoy the Predator franchise, minus... outside the Alien vs. Predator films, they're all pretty solid movies, especially the first two.
Yeah, I will say that I enjoyed, as much as I had mixed relations with,
Predators.
3 and 4 of the Aliens, but I still love those. And the Predators, I loved all the movies. Aliens vs. Predator and Aliens vs. Requiem, I'm sorry, but you are the only two films I absolutely fucking hated out of all of them. Both franchises. I had some dislikes with Aliens 3 and 4, right?
Right.
But I still liked them, too, at the same time. They still felt the same as part of the franchise. I loved them. Same Predator. I loved 1 and 2 of Predator and Predators 3. But Aliens vs. Predator and Requiem, you guys are fucking dog shit. I wish they would go into Hollywood and erase your fucking goddamn film. Because you guys were horrible.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I will never own your piece of shit ass.
I unfortunately own them, but I own them as part of the entire collection of Alien Predator.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. They're the only ones I'm like, man, it's bad these movies are part of the fucking franchise.
And it's sad that if I want to go on a fucking marathon, I have to watch you guys. Fuck no, I'm going to skip you guys.
Yeah. But overall, we thank you so much for listening to our retrospective of both the Alien and Predator franchise. What did you all think of the Predator and Alien franchises? Comment below, and if you guys like what you see here, you can check out more of our retrospectives on SoundCloud and on YouTube. And we'll be coming up with more retrospectives coming up here soon. We'll see you guys later.
Later.